He didn't go to George Herbert Walker Bush's funeral. And so everybody around him is...
Hello, everybody.
And for
This is Paul Politico, and
but I actually think, guys, it's in his
we
best interest to do so.
are actually, this is actually the first stream of the Paul Politico Press Room. And hello, welcome. This is the Paul Politico Press Room, and this is I.
But I think it would be in his best interest to cooperate with everybody to see if he can.
We're just going to do a couple things before we start. That's what we get for doing a live performance, live on air. And we're gonna make sure I'm running at an okay frame rate. Actually, I don't understand why that's not happening. We're gonna make sure I have the zero focus. Yes, it's a very cool Super Mario shirt.
Yeah. People inside the system.
So you said that he's going to go or he's not going to go?
Okay, so we're actually going to deactivate the camera for just a hot second because the frame rate's being weird. So we're gonna do that real quick.
I agree with you, but I think it's just for me. I think it's just he wants to. He likes the ratings. He knows people are going to be watching. And,
okay, I guess we'll just deal with that later. Okay. Hi everybody. This is Paul Politico, and we are going to discuss a lot of different things tonight. As you can see, I've got CNN up here, just because I only have two monitors at the moment, so I only have one extra monitor to watch the news as I report it at the same time. Now, the first thing that I want to go over is some of go over what has been going on over the past couple days. As you can see, the election has gotten really close. We're going to take a look at the map. We're going to get a close-up at the news just to see what those numbers say. So as you can see, the numbers don't lie. Pennsylvania is clearly going for Joe Biden right now.
Organize themselves. And there are other people.
No, you can't. No, you can't, because I think it's just so then I censor that sort of stuff, so then trolls can't come in and just spam things. So I'm right here, so I'll be able to approve stuff.
And I think Mark is a victim of that, and I hope he'll.
But I do it just in case people want to troll. But anyways, as we can see, look at the election. The numbers don't lie. Biden just held a press conference today, said that he was going to win. And I want to, as you can see, we've got Scaramucci, the shortest lasting press secretary in history. They measure the amount of time someone lasts in the Trump administration by Scaramucci, because Scaramucci only lasted a couple weeks, but then he was fired from Donald Trump's administration because of some slander he said on national television. We can go over that if you want to hear that. Want to hear his weird speech.
We'll be right back.
I'm not even going to respond. Then I'm going to leave it right there.
Good, because we're going to the break.
Key race alert.
No more mooch.
No more mooch, exactly. There's a key race alert coming up after this break. We're going to want to see that real quick. Right now, a commercial break's in progress. So what I want to go over is I want to go over the charts. There's definitely been a lot of sway, electoral sway, going on at the moment. So we're just going to switch to the charts, and I believe we can switch to the map. We can go over that, I think. Paul Politico News Conference. We're doing a lot of different technical things at the moment. So we're going to just make sure that we are doing the right stuff, so then I can show off the right display. And okay, we are going to now go to the charts and just to look at the map. So pardon that. So as you can see, this map has gotten very competitive. If we look at the close state of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, right here. We are getting votes from Philadelphia. We are getting votes from Pittsburgh and Allen, and these are Democratic strongholds. Joe Biden is doing especially well in this state, and his lead is still climbing. There's going to be a key race alert. Earlier today, there was a extra count of ballots over the course of the day, and there's still plenty more to count. So Pennsylvania is clearly a state that is favoring Biden compared to 2016. Another state that is leaning towards Biden, but very narrowly, is if we look at Georgia. And Georgia, if we take a look at that, Georgia is another race. That's good to know. It's good to know. They saw my real name. That's fine. I don't mind. Yeah, we're gonna pull up Pennsylvania again. And what I'll do is when good to know actually. You probably saw my last name. You shouldn't have saw that. Yeah, but anyways, it's a little concerning, but you know, such is life. Hello, jukebox. Welcome back. We're gonna go back to Pennsylvania, and we're going to take a look at that. So we're going to check Pennsylvania right here. Pennsylvania, we're getting some strongholds. New votes are coming out of the state of Pennsylvania. For example, we've got votes coming out of Philadelphia. We've got votes coming out of Pittsburgh, and a lot of these votes are votes coming out for Joe Biden, Democratic presidential nominee. And the lead is kept climbing, and yeah, as we can see, I had to just take care of something off screen real quick, but now we're back, and as you can see, Joe Biden is doing very well, 49.6 a vote as of this total. I'm sure there's going to be some more news that we're going to have to take a look. And then Donald Trump is getting 49.2. We're getting a key race alert, and we're going to take a look at what they are saying right now, just to see what they're talking about, just to see what they're doing.
Back to CNN's continuing coverage, election night in America. Chris Cuomo, Don Lemon, here we go, waiting for the final votes to be counted so a winner can be declared and we can start dealing with the worst medical emergency in a generation.
Right now I've got CNN, but I just saw that they're having news, so I'm just going to have them for a minute. Yeah, and we have to tell you, we feel like you feel at home. If I have any more sugar and any more coffee, I don't know what I'm going to say or what's going to happen. We know that you've been up for days. We have too. We know that you're feeling anxious. Not me. I don't want to stretch myself to the screen. But now I'm big. I don't want to be big. I want to be small. We'll get you through it. And soon, sometime soon, the race will be called. The former vice president addressed the American people tonight. We want to saying that he is going to win the election. Do this and transform this to... Chris said, everyone just be patient, just like I said.
And look, it's hard to be patient when it seems that you know the outcome.
So I think Georgia, Pennsylvania, I think Pennsylvania is going to get called for first due to trends, due to different trending trends going on in Pennsylvania. Joe Biden's lead has steadily kept climbing over the course of the day. I think Joe Biden's going to claim Pennsylvania, and that will allow him to achieve electoral college victory for the most part. And we're going to talk about what 273. There's a key race alert from CNN. We want to listen to this.
20 electoral votes. 28,800.
These are numbers. These are numbers. This is math.
Could Biden pad that with what we think is remaining? Yes. Will he? We'll see.
Look how close that is.
16 electoral votes. 4,430 votes.
I think Pennsylvania. Oh, I think my camera just crashed, but you can still hear me. I think Pennsylvania is still climbing at the moment.
Still matter. Arizona.
Ah, yeah, you see me again. Okay, great.
11 electoral votes. 29,800.
Also, Nevada is going to get called for Biden, I believe.
Opposite dynamic here. He
Maybe.
has been losing a lead cushion to Donald Trump, who is overperforming in the all-important Maricopa County. Will the president catch him? It does not look that way, but we're not sure, so we keep watching. CNN has not called Arizona for that reason. Nevada, 6 electoral votes, 22,657 votes are the margin. It seems actually a little safer for Joe Biden, certainly than Arizona. Why? The way the votes are trending. Okay, so that's what we have, all right? Everybody wants to know what's going to happen, so how do we analyze it? Well, we look. Where are the rest of the votes in Pennsylvania?
This is the best way to just look at
Kristen
math.
Holmes, one of the best at the voting desk. That almost rhymed.
Okay.
Hello, Chris. Yes, so let's talk about
right now, Joe Biden is underperforming in Maricopa County according to ballots that have just gotten cast, and as we can see up here, we've got some 89,000 outstanding ballots and 101,000 provisional ballots. So as you can see, Arizona, the lead for Biden in Arizona is shrinking. However, the problem with President Trump, he still has to catch up in all of these states. If we take a look at the rest of the states, we don't need to look at this. We just want to look at charts. So right now, if we look at the charts, if we look at the map, even if Joe Biden wins the state of, even if Donald Trump wins the state of Arizona, and if he wins the state of Nevada, that's still, actually, if he wins the state of Arizona, Nevada, let's actually calculate that right now. We're going to look at 270 to win, and we're going to take a look at that map just to calculate stuff. So right now, oh god, I gotta do this again. Let's just use NBC's. NBC seems to be NBC has most of the map filled in. I don't have to fill stuff in. As you can see, there's NBC right here. Right now, let's see what happens if we give Nevada to Trump. We'll have Nevada going to Trump, Alaska going to Trump, guaranteed. We'll give Arizona to Trump and see what he does, 234. We'll give Georgia to Biden. Biden's there, 269 right now. North Carolina to Trump, that's 249. If we give Pennsylvania to Biden, he's still at 289. 289 is enough. It is enough for him to win the election at 289 electoral votes. That's fine, Jukebox. I want to play Doom again, but I just need to go over a few things on the election. The election's been very intense. Lots of stuff has happened since over the past couple of days. So right now, if President Trump somehow squeaks out a win in Nevada and Arizona, this does not doom the Biden campaign. The Biden campaign only needs to pick up Pennsylvania and Georgia in order to win the election, according to math. The math is against Donald Trump right now. If he wants to carry it, he has to win Georgia. He has to win Pennsylvania. He has to win these two states in order to get 285 electoral votes to carry this election. But according to trends in Pennsylvania, he's not going to win Pennsylvania. Even if Trump wins Georgia and North Carolina, Georgia's doing a recount right now. If Georgia becomes a battleground state, Biden's only winning by around 4,000 votes. If Georgia somehow turns to Biden with the recount for some reason or another, if Trump wins Pennsylvania, then he still loses by 3 votes. But 3 votes is not a safety or a shoe-in for Joe Biden. Joe Biden needs to get through the Electoral College, which is coming out in December. There were 10 faithless electors in the 2016 election, and with splitting averages, we can expect with how divided the country is, we can expect at least 2 or 3 or 4. So just to make things a bit more solid, I would say 10 faithless electors for the 2 most unpopular candidates in United States history, electoral history, according to exit polls. We'll give 5 faithless electors. If President Trump wants to carry the election, he needs to win all these states. He needs to win all of these states. All these states need to turn red. Electors are appointed by their party. However, according to the 2016 election, there were 10 faithless electors, and I'm only saying there could be 5 faithless electors to give a window, just in case something crazy happens. I'm not saying there will be 5 faithless electors, since they're appointed by their party, which absolutely means they're going to vote according to who wins, who carries that state. However, I want to point out that it's still a definite concern to watch. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't think that the Electoral College would deny a Trump 285. That's ridiculous. But in order to get 285, Donald Trump needs to have carry all of these states. What happens if he loses Arizona? If he loses Arizona, Trump has 274. Yeah, exactly. There's only that's true, but we never know. We never know with faithless electors. That's why they're faithless. We have no idea what's going to happen. But currently, if Trump loses Arizona, then he still wins with 274. So, according to trending, Joe Biden carries the lead, then Trump would still take it. So we'll give Joe Biden Arizona as an example, and we'll give Nevada to Biden. If this happens, exactly 270 to Trump's 268. If Biden carries Arizona, maintains that lead, and if he carries Nevada, which seems to be how the state is trending right now, according to different numbers, then Joe Biden just ekes out a win with 270. However, according to where Pennsylvania is standing right now, even if Trump carries Georgia with a weak recount and North Carolina, yeah, that's true, and that was in the 1800s. But according to these numbers that we're getting right now, it's trending that at the very least, Vice President Joe Biden will get 290 electoral votes, according to current numbers trending. Now, these numbers could change. Like I said, I made Georgia red. I made North Carolina red. North Carolina is going to definitely go for President Trump. Georgia could go either way. So just to be on the conservative side, I'm going to have President Trump carry Georgia, just because Biden's only leading by around 4,000 votes. But if we gave Georgia to Biden, then it's over. Clearly over. 306 is a strong majority. But if Georgia becomes Trump, then still Biden has a majority if he wins Pennsylvania. If Pennsylvania goes to President Trump, then Trump still only has 268. 268 is not the magic number. Now, what could make a tie? I want to see what will make a tie. 270, 268. What could make a tie? 279, Trump wins Arizona, then that does that. Well, if Georgia goes to Biden, 275, so that doesn't matter. Pennsylvania goes to Biden. It's really, the math is not looking super good for the President of the United States. Due to how maps are going. So let's say Trump carries Nevada. Let's say what happens if Joe carries North Carolina? Then Joe wins North Carolina. 265, 273. Well, Arizona. See, it's just not looking good. In order for Trump to win this election, according to the math, he needs to carry Georgia. He needs to carry these 3 states, even if he carries Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia with the recount. One district in Maine needs to be red for a tie. Exactly. There's not going to be a tie at this point, according to projections. According to at least projections right now, at least one district in Maine is going to go red. But that would be the only reason for a tie. But according to the math is not looking good in Nevada. The math is not looking good in Pennsylvania. And this brings Biden at a slim but probable 279 lead that is insulated by 5 faithless electors, just in case that plays out. It won't play out that way. They're appointed by their legislature. The faithless electors are going to... that I don't think there will be 5, but it's just in case. So even if 5 leave, 274 is still the magic number. Still a magic number for Joe Biden to become elect. But right now, we're going to call Arizona for Biden, 290. And right now, Georgia's headed for Biden at this current rate. If the votes totals are remaining the same, then Joe Biden will have 306, a plurality of the votes. So I just wanted to illustrate that here. Something I wanted to just go over with everybody is that speech that Trump made at the press briefing room. Yeah, 306, 232. That's what I have right here. I predict, based on trends, we're going to have something like this electoral map. No Democrat has won Georgia in over 30 years since the 1992 election. No Democrat has won Arizona in at least since the 40s. This map is yes, Donald Trump could win Arizona. If we turn Arizona red, then it still leaves President Biden with a plurality of the electoral college. Even if we give Georgia to President Trump, and we give him a main district, which leaves him with 260. 260 to 278 is not enough for the president. The president needs to carry. He needs to, even if he carries Nevada, it is not enough. The president needs to win Pennsylvania. If he wins Pennsylvania, it would put him over the edge at 285. If he loses Nevada at this point, he will still be fine. If he loses Arizona, he will lose. He will lose just barely, but he will lose enough. If he loses Georgia, President Trump will lose. So the only way that President Trump can still win is if he carries Pennsylvania. Donald Trump should be very concerned with the numbers coming out in Pennsylvania. He needs to carry that state, or else he is going to lose. Oh yeah, yes, he needs to carry Pennsylvania. This is where the math is currently. The math is trending this way, and the math is not looking good. No matter where you stand on what side of the aisle, just in pure math semantics, no matter wherever they found ballots, whether they found ballots in dumpsters, they're still being counted at this moment. Who knows what court rulings will say? Who knows who knows if the lawsuits will be validated by the courts? But currently, according to trending, according to where the vote is going, President Trump is in a losing spot. He needs to win all of these states in order to win. And the math right now is not looking at his side. That explains the map where it is right now. This is extraordinary. As I said before, Georgia is a state that has not been... yes, ballots and dumpsters voted on by dead cats and dogs. Ballots and dumpsters voted on by dead people. You know, it's very... we'll just have to see what evidence that they pull out, and we'll have to see what the courts say. We'll have to see if the court wants to hear these cases. There will be a recount in Georgia, so the election's not over yet, so we'll leave Georgia as a toss-up right now. If it comes down to Georgia, it'll be very interesting, according to trending, but right now, Pennsylvania is still leaning towards Biden. Even if Georgia goes to a recount, Biden still has the magic number, even if Arizona is going to flip, which is unfortunate news for Trump. The election, I think we won't find out formal results for at least another couple of weeks. Georgia might take a little longer, but even if Georgia is a toss-up right now, we don't count Georgia. If Biden wins Pennsylvania, it's over. It's over for President Trump. So I just wanted to show that map, and just real quick, and now I want to take a close-up look at the Trump speech, so we're going to take a look at that real quick, just to go over what the president said last night. Right now, CNN's in a commercial break. We're not going to go to CNN, but let's see what CNN's map is doing. CNN projects 253, 213. You can see that right here. They haven't called Arizona, Nevada, or Alaska, but Alaska's heavily leaning toward Trump. As you see with the Senate control, Mark Kelly. Yes, I am disappearing. This is because I'm not using a real green screen. I am using a virtual green screen. 48, 47 in the Senate now. But if you don't count Alaska, Alaska is going to be a pickup for Republican seats, and I see that my camera just froze. But you can still hear me. You can still hear me, and you'll see me in just a second. Okay, we're back, and you can just see that if they can pick up Alaska. We'll go over Biden's speech in just a minute, but I want to go over Trump's speech, and then we'll go over Biden's speech. But right now we've got Alaska going towards Trump, which they'll also get a Senate seat, so that will be 48 to 48. 48 to 48 Senate markup, and then the two seats in Georgia. They'll be very important coming up in January, so we'll just have to watch Georgia as things keep going. So right now, I want to just watch President Trump's speech that he gave in the White House briefing room and try to analyze that a little bit. So we're going to do that real quick because I think it's very important to know what's going on. And this is his full speech, I believe. I don't know this channel. This is just the I don't know this news channel, but it's this speech, so I think it's the full one, so we're just going to go there. Hopefully they won't cut it. Hopefully they won't put it out of context, but here is Trump's speech, and we're going to just watch it, the whole thing, and we're going to see what the president said, and we're going to go over what he is claiming, just to go over that. So this is President Trump's speech. This is Paul Politico, and we'll be back in just a second.
Good evening. I'd like to provide the American people with an update on our efforts to protect the integrity of our very important 2020 election. If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio. Good evening. I'd like to provide the American people with an update on our efforts to protect the integrity of our very important 2020 election. If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio. To name just a few, we won these and many other victories despite historic election interference from big media, big money, and big tech. As everybody saw, we won by historic numbers. And the pollsters got it knowingly wrong. They got it knowingly wrong. We had polls that were so ridiculous, and everybody knew it at the time. There was no blue wave that they predicted. They thought there was going to be a big blue wave. That was false. It was done for suppression reasons. But instead, there was a big red wave. And it's been properly acknowledged, actually, by the media. They were, I think, very impressed. But that was after the fact. That doesn't do us any good. We kept the Senate despite having twice as many seats to defend as Democrats, and in a really much more competitive states. We did a fantastic job with the Senate. I think we're very proud of what's happened there. We had many more seats to defend. They spent almost $200 million on Senate races in South Carolina and Kentucky alone, 2 races, and hundreds of millions of dollars overall against us. At the national level, our opponents' major donors were Wall Street bankers and special interests. Our major donors were police officers, farmers, everyday citizens. Yet for the first time ever, we lost 0 races in the House. I was talking to Kevin McCarthy today. He said he couldn't believe it. 0 races. Very unusual thing, 0. And actually won many new seats with, I think, many more on the way. This was also the year of the Republican woman. More Republican women were elected to Congress than ever before. That's a great achievement. I won the largest share of non-white voters of any Republican in 60 years, including historic numbers of Latino, African American, Asian American, and Native American voters, the largest ever in our history. We grew our party by 4 million voters, the greatest turnout in Republican Party history. Democrats are the party of the big donors, the big media, the big tech, it seems, and Republicans have become the party of the American worker, and that's what's happened. And we're also, I believe, the party of inclusion. As everyone now recognizes, media polling was election interference in the truest sense of that word by powerful special interests. These really phony polls, I have to call them phony polls, fake polls, were designed to keep our voters at home, create the illusion of momentum for Mr.
Steak
Biden
polls.
and diminish Republicans' ability to raise funds. They were what's called suppression polls. Everyone knows that now. And it's never been used to the extent that it's been used on this last election. To highlight just a few examples, the day before election, Quinnipiac, which was wrong on every occasion that I know of, had Joe Biden up by 5 points in Florida, and they were off by 8 points.
Oh, you've never been polled.
4
I've never been
points.
polled either.
And I won Florida easily. So they had me losing Florida by a lot, and I ended up winning Florida by a lot. Other than that, they were very accurate. They had him up 4 points in Ohio, and they were up by 12.2 points. And I also won Ohio, great state of Ohio, very easily. The Washington Post said Biden up 17 points in Wisconsin, and it was basically even. They were off by about 17 points. And they knew that. They're not stupid people. They knew that. Suppression. There are now only a few states yet to be decided in the presidential race. The voting apparatus of those states are run in all cases by Democrats. We were winning in all the key locations by a lot, actually. And then our numbers started miraculously getting whittled away in secret. And they wouldn't allow legally permissible observers. We went to court in a couple of instances, and we were able to get the observers put in. And when the observers got there, they wanted them 60, 70 feet away, 80 feet, 100 feet away, or outside the building to observe people inside the building. And we won a case, a big case, and we have others happening. There are lots of litigation, even beyond our litigation. There's tremendous amount of litigation generally because of how unfair this process was. And I predicted that. I've been talking about mail-in voting for a long time. It's really destroyed our system. It's a corrupt system. And it makes people corrupt even if they aren't by nature. But they become corrupt. It's too easy. They want to find out how many votes they need, and then they seem to be able to find them. They wait, and then they find them. And you see that on election night. We were ahead in vote in North Carolina by a lot, tremendous number of votes. And we're still ahead by a lot, but not as many because they're finding ballots all of a sudden. Oh, we have some mail-in ballots. It's amazing how those mail-in ballots are so one-sided, too. I know that it's supposed to be to the advantage of the Democrats, but in all cases, they're so one-sided. We were up by nearly 700,000 votes in Pennsylvania. I won Pennsylvania by a lot, and that gets whittled down to, I think they said now we're up by 90,000 votes, and they'll keep coming and coming and coming. They find them all over, and they don't want us to have any observers, although we won a court case. The judge said you have to have observers. Likewise in Georgia, and they're appealing. Actually, they're appealing. We won a case that we want people to watch, and we want observers, and they're actually appealing, which is sort of interesting. I wonder why they'd appeal, that all we want to do is have people watch as they do the vote tabulations. Likewise in Georgia, I won by a lot, with a lead of over getting close to 300,000 votes on election night in Georgia. And by the way, got whittled down, and now it's getting to be to a point where I'll go from winning by a lot to perhaps being even down a little bit. In Georgia, a pipe burst in a faraway location, totally unrelated to the location of what was happening, and they stopped counting for 4 hours, and a lot of things happened. The election apparatus in Georgia is run by Democrats. We also had margins of 300,000 in Michigan. We're way up in Michigan, won the state. And in Wisconsin, we did likewise fantastically well. And that got whittled down. In every case, they got whittled down. Today, we're on track to win Arizona. We only need to carry, I guess, 55% of the remaining vote, 55% margins, and that's a margin that we've significantly exceeded, so we'll see what happens with that, but we're on track to do okay in Arizona. Our goal is to defend the integrity of the election. We'll not allow the corruption to steal such an important election, or any election for that matter, and we can't allow anybody to silence our voters and manufacture results. I've been doing a lot of public things for a long time. I've never had anything that's been as inspirational, by people calling, talking, sending things to us. I've never seen such love and such affection and such spirit as I've seen for this. People know what's happening, and they see what's happening, and it's before their eyes. And there are many instances which will be reported very shortly. There's tremendous litigation going on, and this is a case where they're trying to steal an election. They're trying to rig an election, and we can't let that happen. Detroit,
I took some notes to talk about. We'll talk about that too. But I'll be right back as we continue to watch this, and I have a lot of notes, and we can go over stuff.
A presidential race, a very important presidential race. In Pennsylvania, Democrats have gone to the state Supreme Court to try and ban our election observers, and very strongly. Now, we won the case, but they're going forward. They don't want anybody in there. They don't want anybody watching them as they.
Yeah, we have some talk. I have some talking points, and we'll go over a lot of different stuff on both sides. So I hope we can analyze some of his points that he's making and try to cut through the noise.
Watching this process, because if it's straight, they should be proud of it. Instead, they're trying, obviously, to commit fraud. There's no question about that. In Philadelphia, observers have been kept far away, very far away, so far that people are using binoculars to try and see, and there's been tremendous problems caused. They put paper on all of the windows so you can't see in, and the people that are banned are very unhappy and become somewhat violent. The 11th Circuit ruled that in Georgia, the votes have been in by Election Day, that they should be in by Election Day, and they weren't. Votes are coming in after Election Day. And they had a ruling already that you have to have the votes in by Election Day. To the best of my knowledge, votes should be in by Election Day. And they didn't do that. Democrat officials never believed they could win this election, honestly. I really believe that. That's why they did the mail-in ballots, where there's tremendous corruption and fraud going on. That's why they mailed out tens of millions of unsolicited ballots without any verification measures whatsoever. And I've told everybody that these things would happen because I've seen it happen. I watched a lot of different elections before they decided to go with this big, massive election with tens of millions of ballots going out to everybody, in many cases totally unsolicited. This was unprecedented in American history. This was by design, despite years of claiming to care about the election security. They refused to include any requirement to verify signatures, identities, or even determine whether they're eligible or ineligible to vote. People are walking in there. They have no idea. They're just taking numbers. They're writing down things, the workers, and doing a lot of bad things. And we have a lot of information coming and litigation that you'll see that will shake even you people up. And you've seen it all. The officials overseeing the counting in Pennsylvania and other key states are all part of a corrupt Democrat machine that you've written about. And for a long time, you've been writing about the corrupt Democrat machine. I went to school there, and I know a lot about it. It hasn't changed. It's a long time ago, and hasn't changed. It's gotten worse. In Pennsylvania, partisan Democrats have allowed ballots in the state to be received 3 days after the election, and we think much more than that. And they're counting those without even postmarks or any identification whatsoever. So you don't have postmarks, you don't have identification. There have been a number of disturbing irregularities across the nation. Our campaign has been denied access to observe any counting in Detroit. Detroit is another place, and I wouldn't say has the best reputation for election integrity. Poll workers in Michigan were duplicating ballots, but when our observers attempted to challenge the activity, those poll workers jumped in front of the volunteers to block their view so that they couldn't see what they were doing. And it became a little bit dangerous. One major hub for counting ballots in Detroit covered up the windows again with large pieces of cardboard, and so they wanted to protect and block the counting area. They didn't want anybody seeing the counting, even though these were observers who were legal observers that were supposed to be there. In Detroit, there were hours of unexplained delay in delivering many of the votes for counting. The final batch did not arrive until 4 in the morning, and even though the polls closed at 8 o'clock, so they brought it in, and the batches came in, and nobody knew where they came from. We've also been denied access to observe in critical places in Georgia. In multiple swing states, counting was halted for hours and hours on election night, with results withheld from major Democrat-run locations only to appear later. And they suddenly appeared, and they all had the name Biden on them, or just about all. I think almost all. They all had the name Biden on them, which is a little strange. I challenge Joe and every Democrat to clarify that they only want legal votes, because they talk about votes, and I think they should use the word legal votes. We want every legal vote counted, and I want every legal vote counted. We want openness and transparency, no secret count rooms, no mystery ballots, no illegal votes being cast after Election Day. You have Election Day, and the laws are very strong on that. You have an Election Day, and they don't want votes cast after Election Day, and they want the process to be an honest one. It's so important. We want an honest election, and we want an honest count, and we want honest people working back there, because it's a very important job. So that's the way this country is going to win. That's the way the United States will win, and we think we will win the election very easily. We think there's going to be a lot of litigation because we have so much evidence, so much proof, and it's going to end up perhaps at the highest court in the land. We'll see. But we think there'll be a lot of litigation because we can't have an election stolen.
We'll analyze Biden's speech too, by the way. But I wanted to do this one. I want to do this one quick because this is a major development that happened last night, 2 days ago, whatever.
Were a disaster. Small, very easy to handle elections were disastrous. This is a large-scale version.
Yeah, if they cover windows with boxes to
and we can't let that happen to the United States
have
of America. It's not a question of who wins.
People just come in and vote without observers. That would be absolutely abhorrent. It needs to be investigated.
Like this happen. So it will be.
But we'll have to see when they file a lawsuit. We'll have to see where it takes stuff, and it's a legal process, as the president says.
And he's claiming states, and we can both claim the states. But ultimately, I have a feeling judges are going to have to rule. But there's been a lot of shenanigans, and we can't stand for that in our country. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I think I heard Leonard in the audience. But now I want you guys to take a look at the talking points that I made, so you guys can see that. Real quick. So you see that a little bit. You see different talking points from both sides. Right here. Leonard, I swear I heard Leonard. He's like, I heard like a Leonard in here. Let's see, you hear some audience ramble. So I just want to see if you can hear like a guy with a sudden accent again. I want to see if you can hear that.
Horror stories, absolute horror stories.
See if you can hear it.
And we can't let that happen to the United States.
Just listen for the audience. Listen for the audience.
Republican, Democrat, Joe, myself. We can't let that happen to our country. We can't be disgraced by having something like this happen. So it will be.
Come on, end the speech so I can hear the audience. Just listen to the audience.
But it'll probably go through a process, a legal process.
Okay, it's about to end, so you can hear it.
You know, I've claimed certain states, and he's claiming states, and we can both claim the states. But ultimately, I have a feeling judges are going to have to.
Just listen to the audience.
But there's been a lot of shenanigans, and we can't stand for that in our country. Thank you very much.
I don't know if you heard that at the end. It was like, Mr. President. I swear, there was like a Leonard. There was a Leonard in the audience, and then the person who asked the president, "Are you a sore loser?" That was Jim Acosta. I don't know. He's a name that you might have heard before a couple times. But Jim Acosta is one of those reporters. President Trump, I think he revoked his press pass at one point. Now I don't really care if you provoke someone's press pass, but there's definitely some sort of agenda there. Jim Acosta asking Donald Trump if he's a sore loser because the votes haven't been counted yet. We don't know we don't know who's winning the election at this point. Even though there's an edge towards Vice President, a Democratic nominee, Joe Biden, we still don't know who is actually winning the election. But the person who says, "Are you a sore loser?" That was Jim Acosta. If you want to look that up, that's another story for another time. We'll talk about Jim Acosta and his relationship with President Trump a different time. But I just want to go over some of these talking points that I wrote down while listening to Trump's speech. So I have it. Sorry, with big Trump points, big hands, bigly points. I should just call it bigly points. We'll just call it. We'll call it bigly points because bigly Trump points. We'll do that right now because I think it's fun. It's fun to do that, and then we're going bigly points. We're going to use the big. I was disappointed with how that pen went, but maybe we can make it bigger. We'll call it oops. We'll just do that again. Bigly Trump points. Okay. Definitely want to do that. Bigly Trump points. So first big point that he made during this speech was suppression polls. That he said, and discuss with me what you think suppression polls are. How I interpreted this was later he talks about poll watchers that were refused to be let in different voting locations, as well as I think about the polls that were taken. As you can see with mail-in ballots, so clearly polling by different news networks was wrong. President Trump actually did overperform in Ohio, Florida, and Texas. Yeah, exactly. Pollsters only poll certain types of people. They tend to be Democrats. Definitely, there's something weird with polling. I think with polls, you need to have polls in order to talk about something. Like right now, if I don't have any polls, how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to guess what people are going to vote for? I think the polls are more for people to speculate. It's like kind of like betting. It's kind of like betting in an election. Yeah, I've never met a pollster either. So I get what Trump is saying about polls, calling them suppression polls. So I spelled suppression wrong, I think too. That's a big no-no in my book. I'm going to delete that extra R. That just totally discredits me right there. Having two R's. We're just going to do that right now. We're just suppression poll. Wait. There's two P's. That's what I'm doing. There's two P's, and I added an extra R, so we're gonna do that. There. I just had, unless I did it wrong. I'm gonna find out because I don't want to do this wrong. But clearly, I lost all my credibility as a journalist because I can't spell suppression. That's two P's and an R. I was right. It just looks really bad. So anyway. Suppression polls, definitely President Trump is talking about who's taking the polls that are predicting these predictions. Yeah, I agree. Exactly, Wang Bang. You can't trust the polls to know who's going to win an election. Polls are from Poland and don't vote in the U.S. election. Yeah, exactly. You can't trust the power of the polls. The power of the polls. but I do think actually polls can sway in a certain direction, and I think it gives me something to talk about. So at the very least, polls give me something to talk about, and this brings me to mail-in ballots. We'll talk about if mail-in ballots are bad, but first, I want to talk about mail-in ballots. Polling clearly was wrong in this election. Trump overperformed in Ohio, Florida, and Texas. If you just look at the numbers, there was early speculation that Joe Biden could carry these states by 4 or more points, but clearly this was not the case. Clearly, the Democrats and Joe Biden, they lost Ohio to President Trump pretty cleanly. Ohio is a pretty red state. If you look at trends in the math from past elections, Florida and Texas were a bit more surprising, even though President Trump only won Florida and Texas by a few percentage points, which is surprising because usually Texas is ruby red, but this time Texas was less red than usual. Yes, it turns red because it's winner take all, but Texas clearly. The Democrats were hoping to win Texas, but they lost Texas. They also lost Florida. They lost Florida even with the vote drives that came out in Florida. Now, whether you think vote drives are bad, I'm not an expert in vote drives and canvassing. Texas is usually yeehaw red, but this time Texas was only a factor for about. Texas was only won by about 3%, 8%, whatever. Very, very close, very close. Let's say President Trump won Texas by a less margins than previous Republicans. Mail-in ballots, continue with mail-in ballots. We talk about observers, election observers. President Trump accuses Detroit and Philadelphia for not allowing election observers, and something that I wonder is this a we don't know if this I don't know if this is a baseless accusation or if it's an accusation full of when he says mail-in ballots, he's not talking about. This is something that remains unclear to me. It remains unclear if he's talking about mail-in ballots, or if he's talking about absentee ballots or provisional ballots. This is something that remains unclear because President Trump has repeatedly said that he wants ballots counted on Election Day. He encouraged his supporters to vote in person. He said this multiple times: vote in person, don't trust the mail. Don't trust the mail, and whether you think there was a conspiracy at the Postal Service is something that remains to be seen. Democrats have the narrative that the Postal Service was hijacked by Brian DeJoy when Brian DeJoy was occupied into the post at the post office. There was a slowdown of mail. Now, whether this means there was a slowdown of ballots and arriving late at states, that remains to be seen. I don't personally have a familiarity with Project Veritas. It's not something that I'm familiar with. I'm only going by what I know. But what I know is whether you believe in the conspiracy of DeJoy hijacking the Postal Service, slowing down the Postal Service. It's up to you. However, clearly, the most important thing that matters is for President Trump convinced his Republican base to turn out on Election Day, defy some of the polls, and vote out in person. President Trump got his voters to vote on Election Day, and I wonder if the president was encouraging votes to stop because of votes coming in on Election Day. So we'll make another note right here, just so you can see that. Just so you can see me thinking in real time. So let's say we have, well, no matter what happens, people are going to go postal. We'll just have to see what sort of election violence we get. But anyways, I want to just illustrate something real quick here, so we have ballots that come in on Election Day, and we're going to ballots on ED. Ballots on ED. In some states, they were counted first. In other states, they're counted later or last. And then you have early ballots. Early ballots, these are not absentee ballots. These are not ballots cast by people. Early ballots, same thing. Some were on ED and some were later. In most states, if we talk about absentee, we'll go over absentee ballots first. Absentee ballots, right now in most of the battleground states, they're being segregated. The one state that I know they're being segregated in is Pennsylvania, battleground state. It seems like there's a difference of opinion of whether or not some states can accept any ballots that are postmarked by 11/3 and received on a later day. There was some changes in the courts that I guess there were some changes in the courts according to different officials that sedate that ballots that were postmarked. We'll talk about postmarked ballots in just a second. But anyways, absentee ballots right now are segregated in Pennsylvania and I think in other battleground states. Yeah, battleground states. And it just really depends on where they're counted, or they're going to be counted later, but who knows. And then there's provisional ballots. Provisional or damaged ballots. Damaged ballots. This calls to mind hanging chads. Hanging chads, I would call them to be a form of damaged ballots. We'll call hanging chads damaged ballots. And this is the point that I believe the Republican Party has a bit more merit here. We'll call hanging chads. Hanging chads. If you remember Bush v. Gore, Bush versus Gore in a 2000 election. In a 2000 election, we'll put some stars around that. Very pivotal election, because that election was decided by the Supreme Court. Ballots and PI separate. Yes, exactly. But who knows if they're equal? We'll have to see if they're legal in the court of law. Yeah, but they're still voting by punching holes. But anyways, hanging chads, Bush versus Gore 2000 election. That was decided by the Supreme Court. Oh my god, I can't write today. Oh my god, I can't write today. But was decided by the Supreme Court. Decided by the Supreme Court, which gave it to Bush, who was inaugurated in January 2001. So you can see that a little bit. But hanging chads, this was the conflict that led to the Supreme Court intervention. So when the Republicans are saying that they question the legitimacy of some ballots, I think this is what they're trying to refer to. They're trying to refer to damaged ballots. I think they are. I think they're referring to damaged ballots. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just so you know, if anybody corrects me that I'm wrong, then I can analyze from there. I definitely want to have a good stream of information. Damaged ballots, I think they're trying to talk about like hanging chads, but in this case, the damaged ballots are a little bit different. Damaged ballots that the Republican Party is referring to is ballots that weren't postmarked. No, postmark. No postmark. No date. Unverified signature. And when we talk about yeah, exactly. But let's talk about unverified signature. When you have an absentee ballot, we'll draw this. We have a ballot. Ballot goes into secrecy envelope. It doesn't go in vertically, it goes in horizontally. But on your secrecy envelope, secrecy. On your secrecy envelope, you have to follow all the directions, and then you have to sign it. Now, sometimes you can see that sometimes people put in a weird-ass signature, or an unverified signature is not verified by the government. So they have to question that, and they segregate ballots. They're segregated. I want to write that a little clearer. But these ballots are the ones that are currently being segregated in battleground states because they're not verified by the federal government. Your signature isn't verified. Provisional ballots are... we'll go back to provisional ballots. Provisional ballots are ballots that have been returned. So you're like, so the federal government's like, wrong, wrong, so wrong. You did it wrong, but you did it in time for the election, so we're going to give it back to you and you get to fill it out again, okay? We'll call it try again, idiot. Whether they can reject ballots, signatures match. Exactly. These are provisional ballots. Provisional ballots are ballots that have been returned, and you can turn it in. There's one state where you have an extra week. I think it's North Carolina. It gives until November 10th. South Carolina gives until November 10th to turn in these provisional ballots. I don't know if this is a new law or if this is an old law or whatever, but definitely it's something that's put into question by the Republican Party. My clerk's office said they'd call me if signature doesn't match. Someone's good. Okay. Well, at least I told you. But yeah, you have to keep track of your ballot. This shows that if you have a ballot, absentee, early ballot, you have to follow all your rules, follow directions in your ballot, or you get rejected, and this kind of shit happens, or your ballot can get segregated and it won't count. So be sure you follow your directions when you fill in your ballot, so you don't get accused of being an illegal voter. Come on now. Excuse me. But anyways, provisional ballots, they give them back to you, and then you try it again. But right now, the fight comes in between, we'll call these green because I don't know where they stand. We'll call it the state legislature. State legislature, because I don't know if they're green or red, versus the Grand Old Party. And there is a clash as to whether should these ballots be counted. Be counted due to new rules. With new rules that were put in place months before the election. Should these ballots be counted with new rules made months before the election? And that is something that remains to be seen. Provisional ballots. So any ballot that got rejected, any ballot that was segregated. So right now, the state legislatures, it's plural because this is in multiple states. Multiple states, not just Pennsylvania. A lot of these battlegrounds, a lot of these lawsuits stem from the fact, at least in Pennsylvania, the GOP filed a lawsuit wanting to, their PA lawsuit, part of what they say is segregate, oh my god, is segregate, oh god, I'm just gonna do that, segregate all ballots that come after ED. Pennsylvania, they claim that they're already doing it. We'll see how that goes. They claim that they're already doing this. So we'll see how this goes. This is an example. So these kind of rules, these lawsuits are going to be something we'll see if they move forward into courts. But, for example, North Carolina provisional ballots are due back November 10th, so we're not going to find out more voter information from that state until later. So I think what Trump is trying to articulate is that there's damaged ballots. That's a new kind of hanging chad. It is a time of concern. It is concerning when there's no postmark, no date, no verified signature, and ballots are just accepted into a lot of areas. And I think he's trying to say that Detroit and Philadelphia. He wonders if there's bad election integrity in this state, and that is an accusation at this point. We don't know what kind of integrity they have. There's no sig that's supposed to not count. Exactly, that's what I mean. We don't know what the court's going to say about that, whether they can count or not. We'll just have to see. Oops, you see that right here. Sorry for the weird rotation. We're going to lock the rotation so then you can see that. Okay. Anyways, bad election integrity. Bad election integrity. We take a look at, excuse me. Bad election integrity. This remains to be seen in court. It honestly does. We'll just have to see what happens there. Detroit and Philadelphia. I'm not sure these accusations have merit to them. Whether they are corrupt cities, they're run by Democratic governors. But we'll just have to see what the court says. That's all that Mr. Trump can do at this point. All that he can do is watch. But clearly, I don't know about the accusation of irregularities. These are all based in the same accusations of this is the election integrity. We'll call this is my first time using postmarked notes. So bad election integrity, and this goes back to they don't let observers in. And they don't, and they're what kind of ballots are they counting? We just don't know. We'll just have to see what they do, continuing moving forward. Let's see. Right now, there's Georgia. Earlier today, decided they're going to have a recount, and there's a case in Pennsylvania. So the second point that Trump put forward is big media and big tech, and we're gonna put some music on because I want to do that. We're gonna put some stream beats on, just to have something to accompany myself to, because I feel weird talking to a wall. I feel weird talking to a wall, so I'm gonna put some music on, so then you can hear that. So we already heard that one, so we want to let's do this one. So yeah, just have a little bit of something in the background while I talk. Hopefully it's not too loud. Please let me know if it's too loud and I can turn it down. They could be covering up windows to perform satanic blood seances and pentagrams. Is this Doom? Oh, that's an accusation. Is this the start of Doom? Okay, good. Start of Doom. This is start of Doom. So I definitely want to put Doom. Is this the start of Doom? You pick up a pistol and you just start. So anyway, I started blasting. So we'll have to see if that accusation becomes a thing. But we'll have to see how the courts rule on this. Second thing, Trump accused the Democrats of being a part of is big media and big tech. First, I want to go over big media. Big media. You kill a zombie and then a sergeant, exactly. But the first thing I want to go over is big media. Big media, I think, includes most of celebrities. I think President Trump wanted to go over celebrities. Yes. Doom. Doom. I want to play Doom again. But anyways, I gotta talk about this point. This whole point about big tech and big media. So big media. President Trump is clearly talking about celebrities. We're gonna make a new thing down here. We'll call this big media. So the question is Duke a part of big media? Yes, I want to make the Doom audiobooks. If someone can find the Doom audiobooks, and I would love to do that. So we'll call it Bigly Media. So this is big media. First point Donald Trump made. First major point President Trump made is about big media. Big media is censored. Oh, my camera's frozen. That's fine. That's fine. We'll just do it again. That's fine. Makes me wonder if my computer is just overloading right now. I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. But anyways, here we are back again. This is Paul Politico. Second of Trump's big point is bigly media. Big media. Bigly Media, the owner of Paul Politico Pressroom. It's owned by Binge Pipe. I can disclose the ownership of Paul Politico, owned by Binge Pipe. So whether you think we're part of the Chinese government is something that remains to be seen. But I'm gonna go over by my own words. If I get fired by a Binge, if I'm owned by Binge Pipe, and if they try to bring me into detention, then we'll just have to see how that goes. But as of right now, I'm going by my own word, and we'll just see how it goes. So Bigly Media. Bigly Media is a Bigly Media, oops, no, we don't want a text tool, we want this. Bigly Media is Donald Trump's word for celebrities. Celebrities, and most celebrities, if you think about it, are on the left, are left-leaning. There are exceptions to this rule. Exceptions to this rule include Ted Nugent, Kid Rock, Tom Voight, star of Baby Geniuses 2, star of Baby Geniuses 2. Yes, Kanye West, Dragon Energy. Kanye West, I'll talk about Kanye West at some point. Maybe not in this stream. They're still getting votes from Wisconsin. We gotta talk about Kanye West presidential campaign. 60,000 votes, 2024. We'll talk about his concession speech, and we'll see what we're thinking he's going to do in 2024. I actually have a lot of news about Kanye West I want to cover, because he actually posted a lot of Universal music contracts that I want to take a look at some point. But definitely Kanye West is a story that we have to go into at some point in the Paul Political press room. But right now we're talking about Trump's Bigly Media. As you can see, celebrities are leaning left usually. Ted Nugent, Kid Rock, Tom Voight are exceptions. Exceptions to this rule. And these celebrities are Trump's friends. Tom Voight earned a Medal of Freedom. Ted Nugent and Kid Rock visited the White House. I forgot about Kanye West. Very important. Because Kanye West is very influential as a rapper. I like a lot of his music, actually. Kanye West, very interesting person. He has an interesting history. I'll have to do more research on the guy, and we can go over a bit of his political views on the Paul Political Press Room. Gave me an idea, Wang Bang. We're going to go over Kanye West at some point, so I'm gonna put a star on his, on his. I'm gonna put a yellow circle, Kanye West. The Paul Political Press Room. Be sure to stay tuned for that. But anyways, right now, Bigly Media, celebrities left-leaning. For example, biggest example that I can think of is, oh shit. Biggest example I can think of is Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift became left-leaning after the election, before the election this year. Taylor Swift, love her music, love her style. But she definitely told her viewers to vote against Trump. She told her viewers to vote against Donald Trump. Vote on Instagram. She posted about that. There was who else? Taylor Swift. We'll call the female celebrities of the day the squad, because Taylor Swift has a squad. This is not Taylor Swift's squad, just the female squad. So like activists like, you know, Katy Perry, Billie Eilish. She told her viewers to vote a certain way. We've got who else? Who else is there? Major ones besides Miley Cyrus. Lover or hater, she's very influential. Yeah, but like a lot of female celebrities. Female Gen Y celebs. A lot of female Gen Y celebs are leaning towards left wing, and they are trying to influence their listeners to vote. Whether you think a celebrity should be able to vote for a specific political candidate is something that's up to you. I personally think that music and politics are intertwined. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me is something that we can disagree with, but as someone who actually studies music for a living, that is something that I firmly believe. I firmly believe music, art and music are inherently political, something that cannot be separated. So we're gonna just cement that right here in yellow, because that is a opinionated, totally biased, opinionated fact. And you know, Paul Politico's opinion. This is Paul Politico's opinion. So we're gonna put music, politics are intertwined based on my experiences as a musician. I am a musician, by the way, believe it or not. I don't really talk about that here, but I do musician things, and this is based on my experiences, and there's definitely a lot of different opinions that I have about the music industry, but we're not going to go into the music industry right now. Right now we're talking about Donald Trump and his opinion about celebrity cultures. You can talk about TikTok. Talk about TikTok. That's very important to Gen Zoomers, and for example, like the music for the instrumentation power chords and that, and that's about the, yeah, exactly. I mean, speaking of music of politics or songs and political. Green Day, American Idiot, very political against Bush at the time. Yeah, exactly. I mean, people like music for different things, but I find music as a whole, as an art form, as it pertains to history, is inherently related to culture, and culture itself is related to politics of the culture that it is associated with. But moving on, we're going to talk about TikTok and Gen Zoomers. Very important to them. Something that BTS, Korean, South Korean pop group. I could get totally flamed for saying this, so we'll just have to see what happens. BTS, South Korean pop group, I believe, spammed Trump. They spammed Trump live stream. They spammed Trump live streams and polls. They definitely influenced some stuff. They definitely influenced things. Influenced towards the left. So as you can see, TikTok, very important. So you can see the President Trump's argument that TikTok is a little biased. Oh shit! This shit again. I have, yeah, whatever. We're gonna move my keyboard. I don't need it anymore for right now. I just need the iPad to write and to talk. So going all the way down to polls. Polls influence toward the left wing. So as you can see, there's a bit of a bias. Bigly media. And we haven't even gone over Facebook. TikTok sucks. It's owned by the Chinese. What do you mean TikTok sucks? We're owned by the Chinese government. You can't talk bad about the Chinese government. We're owned by the Chinese government. Come on now. Come on now. We'll get fired. Can't do that. We're owned by the Chinese government. Can't say shit. So TikTok is great. Clearly, they're owned by Xi Jinping. We can talk about Xi Jinping influencing our election, but I mean, not at this point. At this point, I want to talk about Trump's speech because I got into Biden's speech. I got to get to Biden's speech actually. But TLDR of this whole thing, bigly media, Trump's railing on celebrities because celebrities lean towards left-leaning, and then you have to ask the question. You have to ask this basic question: Are celebrities being political because they see it as a goodwill for them, for their brand, which leads to more dollars? You grind my G, election to be announced soon. Stay safe. What happens? Good chance to last thing. Artists of talented rappers in a body bag. What talented rapper? Are we talking about Tupac? I love Tupac. Tupac, one of the greatest rappers. Notorious B.I.G., great rapper. It's true. Talented rappers in a body bag. You know, sometimes the good rappers die young. And one of my favorites, Tupac. Oh, you're talking about Civil War last night. We'll have to talk about Civil War at some point. Right now, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. King Vong was found in a body bag. Very sad. Very, very sad, actually. So we're going to do. I don't know his music super well, unfortunately, but it gives me an excuse to delve into his music. So we're gonna just do King Von. Just gonna do that right here. Yeah, just gonna do that real quick. Rip King Von. I'm sure he was an influential rapper. It's really sad. Back to celebrity talk. We're going to is this celebrities when they get political, when they get inherently into politics. We have to ask: Are they in it for the dollars, for the goodwill of the brand? Are they in it? Are they in it for inherent goodness? So does it go slabs? Don't listen to their political views. People like Cardi B wants universal health care, low taxes. Like, bro, what a clown. I think Cardi B has her own set of issues as a person. I don't like her personally. Her songs are all right. I don't find her to be my favorite. Personally, by the way, Cardi B was a ally of Bernie Sanders. We're gonna actually just bring that here, just to put that here. So left leaning, we've got Cardi B. We'll just put that real quick. I just want to write Cardi B and then B Sanders. Bernie Sanders lost twice. Bernie Sanders lost twice. You hate to see it. Oh, anyway. Celebrities, when they hate Cardi B, I can... Well, don't worry. We're not listening to Cardi B. We're just listening to some stream beats. But, anyways, to keep going here. Celebrities, when they enter into politics, is it inherently for a goodwill for themselves? Or is it oh shit, damn it. Or is it for inherent is it for greed? I mean, is it that, or are they trying to legitimately look out for people? Are they trying to legitimately look out for people and be role models? So this brings you right back into this dilemma of intention, this dilemma of intent. And this dilemma of intent We're gonna make that white, actually. Whatever. This dilemma of intent. President Trump argues that the intent of celebrities is selfish. Yeah. Sorry, I had that flag for a second, but we'll read what Wayne Banks says. Think a lot of celebs are attention whores, so they want to get attention for their views and also influence people to say no. They have sway, especially with their fans. Yes, this is what President Trump also advocates as well. I'm just gonna put that down as a talking point real quick. My camera froze again, but here I am back at it again. This is Politico. Yeah, I might have to fix this auto mod because I want it to censor stuff, but I don't want to flag comments. I apologize. Hopefully you understand where it's coming from. I just don't like spam. I don't want to be trolled with spams of comments. But anyways, Trump is in the camp. That these acts of yeah, I know it did, and I don't know why. I'll have to look at it. But anyways. Trump is in the camp that celebrities are selfish, self-centered, attention-seeking, greedy, only trying to get attention. Then there's the other argument that you can make that they're trying to be. Are they trying to be good? Are they trying to be role models for others? Because they have that influence. Yeah, like if they have that influence. How can we talk about girls in the Amsterdam red light district? I don't know enough about that topic. That's going to be something I'll have to research. All I know is about celebrities in the music industry. But this is the intent that the celebrities themselves have. Left-wingers have a little bit. For example, I think it was Rihanna and John Legend. A lot of celebrities have turned out to support Joe Biden. Celebrities, left-wingers, can they be good? Can they be role models, influence others, which equals a better society? And this really comes back to this actually brings you back to neoliberalism. This is a very neoliberalist subject. Neolib subject of capitalist hierarchy. There's a capitalist hierarchy. Neolib idea that capitalist hierarchy that celebs are on top and we're on the bottom. Us. And that applies to President Trump. He is arguing that this opinion, he says that we're the losers. He says that we're the losers and that is wrong. And Dems shouldn't be courting celebrities. Not be courting celebs like they shouldn't be courting celebrities like this because it's patronizing. See, it's patronizing to blue-collar workers. So I think that's what President Trump was talking about, big celebrities. This is the main points here. So if we go over that real quick, we have celebrities, politics, celebrities, left-leaning, yeah. Hopefully you all understand that. I think that's what President Trump was trying to go for in this speech to the American people. And then one of his big points I want to go over with is big tech. Bigly tech. And we're going to talk about all that stuff that happened over the past few days. Bigly tech. Bigly tech. If we go over President Trump and his and his treatment of Facebook. Twitter. These are the two most important ones, Facebook and Twitter. Facebook and Twitter. Instagram is owned by Facebook. Twitter is its own entity, its own cesspool of thoughts. Talk about Reddit. I can argue Reddit has a left-wing bias. We'll go over Reddit just a little bit real quickly. Reddit banned this. Oops. Stop it. Banned this one too. So clearly there's a little bit of a bias going around. Reddit's supposed to be a place of free speech, but they argue this is going to get into free speech talk. So depending on your views of what free speech is, it's very different. Facebook and Twitter, I want to show, I want to see if I can find, I want to then go over Twitter. Twitter, because some interesting developments happened on Twitter, actually. On Twitter this morning or yesterday, Steve Bannon was banned off of Twitter, and we're going to just find that real quick. We're going to quickly go over that. Going to find that. Now I need my keyboard again. Twitter's contesting Trump's tweets. Yeah, don't do those. Oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. Stop it. Here. Am I good? Okay, I can set that down. Twitter's contesting Trump's tweets. Exactly, so we're going to take a quick look at Twitter. I first want to find his tweet. Steve Bannon, his Twitter got suspended, but I'm trying to find the tweet. Steve Bannon. I'll find that real quick. I want to find the screenshot of that, but it's not going to show me. Ah, maybe this is it. This is. Ugh, come on. Oh, come on. Where is it? Where is it? I'm trying to find this tweet, and we'll go right back to it. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, come on. I'm trying to find a not biased source, but this is the best that I can do, so I apologize if it's a little biased. So we'll take a look at this. Actually, we'll pause the music, and then we'll go watch Steve Bannon's video on stuff. This is probably going to seem biased, but I'm just trying to report what happened to Bannon a little bit. So we'll switch into news right here.
And that's the second term. Second term kicks off with firing Ray, firing Fauci. Now, I actually want to go a step farther, but I realize the president is a kind-hearted man and a good man. I'd actually like to go back to the old times of Tudor England. I'd put the heads on pikes, right? I'd put them at the two corners of the White House as a warning to federal bureaucrats. You either get with the program or you're gone. Time to stop playing games. Blow it all out. Put Rick Grinnell today as the interim head of the FBI. That'll light him up, right?
You know what, Steve? Just yesterday, there was the anniversary of the hanging of two Tories in Philadelphia. These were Quaker businessmen who had cohabitated, if you will, with the British while they were occupying Philadelphia. These people were hung. This is what we used to do to traitors.
That's how you won the revolution. Nobody wants to talk about it. Revolution wasn't some sort of garden party, right? It was not. It was a civil war. It was a civil war.
I don't know if you saw that. I think Chris. I think I didn't hear this part because I had that little part muted because I don't want the music in the background to be sorry to be there. But I just wanted to show there was this video that was posted. Steve Bannon was banned from Twitter, suspended for calling for Christopher Wray, FBI director, his head to be put on a spike. So, just wanted to show that for the viewers. Viewers here who have not seen this development. Twitter and President Trump have an interesting relationship we can go over. I just want to quickly write down Bannon. Trump was very close to Bannon. I don't fucking know. Was it this video? I have no idea. Trying to find this. Oh, where is it? Yeah, we're gonna go back to the close-up of the news. Gonna go right here. Yeah, I know it's the Independent. The Independent's biased, but this is the only someone can refute this, so. This Steve Bannon threatened to put Christopher Wray and Anthony Fauci, put their heads on spikes near the White House. The account of the War Room Pandemic was suspended after the podcast went live on Thursday. So Bannon's co-host Jack Maxey noted on this podcast, which you heard, I'm just trying to report the best that I can based on what information I have that's been posted to the media. Of course, all media is biased, but I'm just trying to, honestly, when I show websites and stuff, I'm just trying to show information. I try to find information without like subtitles and stuff with agendas on it. But this is the best that I can do because honestly, if you look at Steve Bannon's Twitter, it's suspended. So I can't just look back. I can't just look back at Steve Bannon's Twitter because it's suspended, but we can look at Donald Trump's Twitter. We could look at his Twitter real quick. We can look at his Twitter. So just to quickly recap for all the viewers who didn't know about this, Bannon was banned. And then if we look at Trump, we're gonna look at real Donald Trump. Someone probably I was trying to find a screen cap and I couldn't find it, so this is the best that I could do. So we're gonna look up real Donald Trump, and we're gonna show off that a lot of his tweets are being censored. Close up at the news. So if we look up real Donald Trump, I don't want to view that sound yet. Right now he's been tweeting a lot. Real Donald Trump, this is the Trump account that everybody follows. 45th President of the United States, American flag. Right now he only follows 50 people. But as you can see, the president tweets a lot. And whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, he says it cuts the middleman. It gets him straight into the media. Let's see. This Paul Sperry guy, go over him. But, let's see. So Twitter flagged some things. Not these retweets yet. I'm trying to find a tweet. Here's some. If we look down here, Detroit Seaworks. Yeah. I don't know anything about that. If I'm being honest, it's new information. This has just been retweeted a few hours ago. But I want to just talk about Donald Trump's relationship with Twitter. President Trump, as you can see, there's a tweet right here. Some or all of the contents here in this tweet is disputed and might be misleading about an election or other civic processes. Let's see what this one says. So this one says, easily win the presidency of the... Okay, I'm going to read in Trump's voice. I easily win the presidency of the United States with legal votes cast. The observers were not allowed in any way, shape, or form to do their job, and therefore votes accepted during this period must be determined to be illegal votes. U.S. Supreme Court should decide. So as we already saw in Trump's speech, he wants to bring this issue to the Supreme Court. We'll have to see if he has a case to bring up. If there is a legitimate case of voter fraud, there's something to be had. But as you can see, this tweet was flagged by Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey is the founder, one of the co-founders of Twitter, and he has a interesting relationship with President Trump. So we're going to learn more about 2020 election security results. We're going to do this. This is Twitter. As of October 2020, you may not use Twitter services for the purpose of manipulating or interfering in elections or other civic processes. This includes posting or sharing content that may suppress participation or mislead people about when, where, or how to participate in a civic process. In addition, we may label and reduce visibility of tweets containing false or misleading information about civic process in order to provide additional context. This is a affront to freedom of speech advocates. If you're a libertarian, this should not make you happy, especially this right here. This right here, the act of being able to state your opinion is something that needs to be held sacred. And it's the internet. The internet is a cesspool. Twitter is a cesspool. The fact that Twitter acted on this is something that is certainly questionable, if I'm being quite honest. Manipulating or interfering in the elections or other civic processes, this can actually go all the way back to... You can see the left-wing celebrities that I said earlier. Do left-wing celebrities influence and interfere with the election process? Do left-wing politicians, when they tweet, do they interfere in the election process? And it's not just a right-wing issue, it's a left-wing issue too, left or right-wing. So these sort of rules up here, are definitely something that are questionable and how they're implemented, and we'll just have to see if anything comes out of that. As of right now, these rules are still in place, and a lot of these Trump tweets are flagged because of this bottom spot. In addition, we may label and reduce the visibility of tweets containing false, misleading information about civic processes in order to provide additional context. So this context is something we don't have. We don't have Dorsey's additional context. We don't know who decided to flag Trump's tweets. Clearly, Trump is begrudged by this. Multiple tweets of his have been flagged at this point. Multiple tweets that he has made has been flagged. President Trump was ruled by the courts that he can't block people, but blocking people in itself is a vestige of freedom of speech. Although if you're a public politician or if you're in public office, I guess you're not allowed to block people just because you don't like them. Clearly, this is something that is being contested. Twitter believes they have a responsibility to protect the integrity of the election. Something just seems wrong to me about Twitter feeling that they are a bastion of responsibility. I feel it feels icky to leave public discourse in the hands of people who themselves are fallible to opinions, who themselves are susceptible to public flaws in themselves. I know what a civic process is. I'm talking about the civic process right now. Was in violation of this policy, misleading information about how to participate. I don't know. It's just reading this. Suppression and intimidation. Obviously, this is where the... Oh, my camera froze again, but you can hear me in just a second. So, obviously, there's something to be said about the line between free speech and speech that can incite violence. That's something that remains to be seen, whether it's something that we should condone on the internet or not. So, yeah, this is... I'm looking at these bullet points. This includes misleading lanes of polling places are closed. There was one time President Trump said go out and vote November 28th. It was a mistake, but misleading information nonetheless. Misleading claims about police or law enforcement. Yeah, I don't know. Misleading information about outcomes. This is the one that is key right now. Go out and vote November 28th. Donald Trump said that in 2016. Makes me wonder if some people actually did that. We'll just have to... I don't know. This is the one that's very important to President Trump as to whether he gets suspended. We will label or remove false or misleading information intended to undermine public confidence in election or under civic process. This includes disputed claims that could undermine faith in the process itself, such as unverified information about election rigging, ballot tampering, vote tallying, or certification of election results, or misleading claims about the results of election calls, leak interference. Okay, you read that. I don't want to read that. So... Anyway, yeah, I wonder if some people actually did that. Actually voted on November 28th and had their ballots rejected. Some people are like, well, I'm gonna vote November 28th because the president told me to. Oh yeah, we'll do that. He said 4 years ago that I vote November 28th and my vote will count. If it don't count, I'm gonna bring my gun to the Capitol. I'm gonna make sure that my vote is counted because we gotta count the vote. We have to win Pennsylvania. Yes, that's right. Leonard will fill out his ballot. He'll fill out his West Virginia ballot. He will document himself trying to bring it to the polls. We'll have to see what happens. Oh boy. In any case, but clearly this was written. It's written for the intent of trying to protect. I guess it was written in as an intention of trying to protect the election, trying to protect the integrity of our electoral process. However, there is something icky about leaving responsibility to conduct honest work on the internet to the founders of Twitter, who themselves have flawed beliefs. Everybody has a flawed belief. I have a flawed belief. Jim Acosta has a flawed belief. President Trump has a flawed belief. We as humans are inherently flawed. That's just a fact of life. That's something we have to live with. We can do our best to report the information as we know it, but as of right now, it feels a little weird to leave a website in charge by two people. Yeah. So, we'll have to see if President Trump suffers a permanent suspension. We'll have to see if he, right now, we'll just have to see what happens. Because President Trump is a politician. He's a politician who has undeniable influence in our elections and in our results and things like that. And we'll just have to see if these sort of tweets do anything. Yeah, as you can see, his news conference that I just showed you was cut off by NBC, ABC, and CBS, as well as other news stations they claimed that his speech was false. However, I do think they should have showed the whole speech, because even though there were lots of interesting claims that he puts out, I think some of his claims are adequate. His claims are adequate. Sure, it comes off as complaining, but as you see, suppression. You see, we talked about suppression polls, talked about mail-in ballots, we talked about whether they're bad or not. I think he's trying to articulate a lot about things, but as you can see, honestly, because he's not a very experienced politician, he's articulating stuff really badly. He's articulating his thoughts in a way that makes him look bad, and this is something that has kind of doomed his presidency at this point. His articulation of thoughts doomed him at the first debate against Joe Biden. The last debate of Joe Biden wasn't as good as it could have been. I think of the stark contrast with Mike Pence. Even though Mike Pence was very evasive and dodged questions, according to the moderator, Mike Pence clearly had a more stable head of where he wanted to go. President Trump has a tendency to ramble. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, he speaks to the working family, he speaks to the working class, blue-collar workers. However, President Trump definitely has a way of talking that does not sit well with the media. It creates a drama with the media. When President Trump said CNN was the enemy of the people, set off a firestorm. Firestorm continues to this day. Clearly, some news networks were not happy to air President Trump's speech to the press last night at around 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time. This is Paul Politico, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. And the last thing we want to do before we leave off for the evening is go over Joe Biden's speech that he made yet the day before and today, because I have not personally watched that speech yet. So I want to watch that. I want to get everybody's reactions to it, and we're going to go over that in just a few minutes. Don't get your eyes off that television. We'll be right back. This is Paul Politico, and you are watching the Election Day Roundup. We'll be right back.
Ron, is the message this country is center, left, and right. Stay center.
Everybody, this is Paul Politico. You didn't hear me for just a second there. This is Paul Politico's Pressroom. That was Trump dancing on SNL. I had not actually seen that clip, so it was, honestly, when I saw that for the first time today, it was the funniest shit of my life. I could not believe my eyes. I never saw that. I don't know why I missed it, but you should have seen me. I was laughing my ass off for hours. Oh my god. Let's see. I'll try to interpret that. You used to call me on my cell phone. Yeah. You can't take my taxes. I only paid $750 in taxes. I just froze. What a downer. Oh, that's funny. That's really funny. Yes. Yeah, used to call me on my cell phone. I only paid $750 in taxes. That's a filing fee, by the way.
although those voters, as you know, tend to be kind of more centrist on economic ones. On the other hand, they are almost completely shut
there's
out.
that.
And Republicans, by
We're just going to take a quick look and catch up on the news real quick, and then we will... Nope, they're on a commercial break. Never mind. Let's see Fox News. I know I showed CNN, but we want to look at Fox News. Get a little bit of that. So just to make sure I'm not biased, America still waits. All eyes Pennsylvania. Even they know that Pennsylvania is something that needs to be counted. So this is Fox News.
It's time for us to come together as a nation to heal.
I will
We have to try.
I will go over this speech, so we don't want to listen to that right now. Actually, not because I don't want to listen to Fox News, but because I want to watch this speech on my own. So right now, I want to go over Biden's speech, so we're going to watch that for we're going to watch his 2 speeches. He gave 2 speeches, one yesterday, one today. So I'm going to want to go over Biden's speeches, independent of Fox News, because they're just watching Biden's speech right now. And I want to go over what Biden's speech is, so we're going to do that real quick in just a moment. We're just going to pull it up real quick. What is your reaction to Trump being on SNL in 2015? Do you think it was a good idea? Do you think it normalized President Trump to the mainstream media? I mean, to voters? It's something that we don't know. It's something that we'd have to just analyze and see. But I want to look up Biden's speech, Delaware. I want to look up yesterday, not today. There was this one. Very short speech, but we want to just go to that one real quick. So as you can see, Biden's speech. We'll do close up the news. We'll watch that real quick, and then we will. This is Biden's speech from Wilmington, Delaware. It was now 3 days ago. So we'll just watch this one real quick, and then we'll watch the next one as I take notes. Yeah, here we go.
In Delaware, let's listen in.
We're going to go into maybe tomorrow morning, maybe even longer. But look, we feel good about where we are. We really do. I'm here to tell you tonight, we believe we're on track to win this election. We knew because of the unprecedented early vote and the mail-in vote that it was going to take a while. We're going to have to be patient until the hard work of tallying the votes is finished. And it ain't over till every vote is counted. Every ballot is counted. But we're feeling good. We're feeling good about where we are. We believe one of the nets has suggested we've already won Arizona, but we're confident about Arizona. That's a turnaround. We also just called it for Minnesota, and we're still in the game in Georgia, although that's not one we expected. And we're feeling real good about Wisconsin and Michigan. And by the way, it's going to take time to count the votes. We're going to win Pennsylvania. I've been talking to folks in Philly, Allegheny County, Scranton, and they're really encouraged by the turnout and what they see. Look, you know, we could know the results as early as tomorrow morning, but it may take a little longer. As I've said all along, it's not my place or Donald Trump's place to declare who's won this election. That's the decision of the American people. But I'm optimistic about this outcome. And I want to thank every one of you who came out and voted in this election. And by the way, Chris Coons and the Democrats, congratulations here in Delaware. Pardon? Hey, John, the Gov, yeah, the whole team, man. You've done a great job. I'm grateful to the poll workers, to our
Who's
volunteers,
that?
our canvassers, everyone who participated in this democratic process.
I forgot who the
And I'm
governor
grateful to
was.
all my supporters here in Delaware and all across the nation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And folks, you heard me say it before. Every time I walk out of my grandpa's house up in Scranton, he'd yell, "Joey, keep the faith." And my grandma, when she was alive, yelled, "No, Joey, spread it. Keep the faith, guys. We're going to win this." Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So that was...
Great.
Sorry, that was biased clearly, but I showed the whole speech. That was Biden's speech from Delaware 3 days ago. And I want to look up the one that he just did. The one that he literally just did. I think it's this one. So we're going to watch this one real quick. And then we'll be right back and talk about a couple things. Because I haven't personally watched this speech before either. So we're going to watch this one and then talk about that. This was, yeah. This was, I think it was, maybe. But we're going to see. I don't know.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. We don't have a
Yes,
final declaration
3 days ago. Very different than
of
now.
victory yet, but the numbers tell us it's clear. Tell us a clear and convincing story. We're going to win this race. Just look at what has happened since yesterday. 24 hours. We were behind.
I'm not getting
in
subtitles. I
Georgia.
apologize.
Now we're ahead, and we're going to win that state. 24 hours ago, we were behind in Pennsylvania, and we are
Wow,
going to win
I'm not getting
Pennsylvania.
subs. We're just going to do
And now
all
we're
generated
ahead.
subtitles. Sorry. Sorry, everybody, if we can't see it.
Good evening, my fellow Americans.
Here we go.
We don't have a final
This
declaration.
is Joe Biden speaking tonight.
victory yet.
Yes, tonight.
But the numbers
Last
tell
night.
us it's clear. Tell us a clear and convincing story. We're going to win this race. Just look at what has happened since yesterday. 24 hours. We were behind in Georgia. Now we're ahead, and we're going to win that state. 24 hours ago, we were behind in Pennsylvania, and we are going to win Pennsylvania. And now we're ahead, but we're winning in Arizona, we're winning in Nevada, and in fact, our lead just doubled in Nevada. We're on track to over 300 electoral votes, electoral college votes. And look at the national numbers. We're going to win this race with a clear majority of the nation behind us. We've gotten over 74 million votes. Let me repeat that, 74 million votes. That's more than any presidential ticket has ever gotten in the history of the United States of America. And our vote total is still growing. We're beating Donald Trump by over 4 million votes. And that's a margin that's still growing as well. One of the things I'm especially proud of is how well we've done across America. And we're going to be the first Democrat to win in Arizona in 24 years. We're going to be the first Democrat to win Georgia in 28 years. And we've rebuilt the blue wall in the middle of the country that crumbled just 4 years ago. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, the heartland of this nation. I know watching these vote tallies on TV moves very slow, and it's as slow as it goes, it can be numbing. But never forget, the tallies aren't just numbers. They represent votes and voters, men and women who exercise their fundamental right to have their voice heard. And what's becoming clear each hour is that record number of Americans of all races, faiths, religions chose change over more of the same. They've given us a mandate for action on COVID, the economy, climate change, systemic racism. They made it clear they want the country to come together, not continue to pull apart. The people spoke, more than 74 million Americans, and they spoke loudly for our ticket. But while we're waiting for the final results, I want people to know we're not waiting to get the work done and start the process. Yesterday, Senator Harris and I held meetings with groups of experts on public health and the economic crisis this country is facing. The pandemic, as you also know, is getting more worrisome all across the country. Daily cases are skyrocketing, and it's now believed that we could see as many as 200,000 cases in a single day. The death toll is approaching 240,000 lives lost to this virus. That's 240,000 empty chairs, kitchen tables, and dining room tables all across America. We'll never be able to measure all that pain and the loss, the suffering that so many families have experienced. We know something about what it feels like to lose someone. And I want them to know they're not alone. Our hearts break with you. I want everyone to know on day one, we're going to put our plan to control this virus into action. We can't save any of the lives lost, any of those who have been lost, but we can save a lot of lives in the months ahead. Senator Harris and I also heard yesterday about how this recovery is slowing because of the failure to get the pandemic under control. More than 20 million people are on unemployment. Millions are worried about making rent and putting food on the table. Our economic plan will put a focus on a path to a strong recovery. Look, we both know tensions are high. They can be high after a tough election, one like we've had. But we need to remember, we have to remain calm, patient. Let the process work out as we count all the votes. You know, we're proving again what we've proved for 244 years in this country. Democracy works. Your vote will be counted. I don't care how hard people try to stop it. I will not let it happen. The people will be heard. Our journey is toward a more perfect union, and it keeps moving on. In America, we hold strong views. We have strong disagreements, and that's okay. Strong disagreements are inevitable in a democracy, and strong disagreements are healthy. They're a sign of a vigorous debate, of deeply held views. But we have to remember, the purpose of our politics isn't total, unrelenting, unending warfare. No, the purpose of our politics, the work of the nation, isn't to fan the flames of conflict, but to solve problems, to guarantee justice, to give everybody a fair shot, and to improve the lives of our people. We may be opponents, but we're not enemies. We're Americans. And no matter who you voted for, I'm certain of one thing. The vast majority of almost 150 million Americans who voted, they want to get the vitriol out of our politics. We're certainly not going to agree on a lot of issues, but at least we can agree to be civil with one another. We have to put the anger and the demonization behind us. It's time for us to come together as a nation to heal. It's not going to be easy, but we have to try. My responsibility as president will be to represent the whole nation. And I want you to know that I'll work as hard for those who voted against me as those who voted for me. That's the job. That's the job. It's called the duty of care for all Americans. We have serious problems to deal with, from COVID to the economy to racial justice to climate change. We don't have any more time to waste on partisan warfare. You know, and more than that, we have such an incredible opportunity to build the future we want for our kids and our grandkids. I've said many, many times, I've never been more optimistic about the future of this nation. There is no reason we can't own the 21st century. We just need to remember who we are. This is the United States of America. And there's never been anything we've been unable to do, unable to accomplish when we've done it together. I hope to be talking to you tomorrow. I want to thank you all, and may God bless you, and may God protect our troops. Good night.
That was, you just heard Vice President, Democratic nominee, Joe Biden. And he was just speaking. He was just speaking to an audience. I believe it was indoors. I believe it looked like it was indoors. And I want to just go over a little bit of what Biden said in both these speeches and sort of compare like or as to from one day ago to now. So we're going to put the music on and we're going to get ready to discuss a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. This video, I think Leonard is in about 30 seconds. Yeah, you're probably right. Good thing to catch the Leonard cameo. You see, Leonard just teleports all over the place. First he's in Delaware. First he's in the White House in D.C., and then he flies all over to Delaware. You know, Leonard's just everywhere. Gotta find something to rampage. Let's look at this tweet. Trump supporters are trying to start a civil war. The election they haven't even settled on a slogan yet. Thanks, Trevor Noah. Yeah. Oh, Trevor Noah. He was in the faux news studio. Oh, that's great. That's great. But I just want to go over what Biden, compare a little bit what Biden said to now. For example, 3 days ago, Biden was in Delaware. He's been hiding out in Delaware. Let's just confirm that right now. In both places, he was in Delaware. Like on election day, he was hiding out with his wife in the basement. So he appears in Delaware 3 days ago, and he says he's a little bit nervous at this point about the vote counts in battleground states. And his speech, in my opinion, was reminiscent of Podesta's speech in 2016 when Podesta was like, "Come out tomorrow, your vote will be counted. Come out tomorrow, stay calm. Come out tomorrow, we'll have to see how it goes." So as you can see, in 2016, Hillary Clinton lost a day later, and yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Even though there was an audience, right? It sounded like there was audience at the end. Or maybe it was press. Maybe it was press. But clearly, this tepid speech was reminiscent of John Podesta's speech with Hillary Clinton when she ended up losing and calling President Trump to concede. Well, okay, that's fine. I didn't know, but whatever. Anyways, moving on. The speech now, the one that happened today, actually yesterday. Yesterday was 11/6/20, which was it would have been three days since election day. 3 days since election day, and then Joe Biden sounded a lot more confident, especially of battleground states, Georgia and Arizona, especially at this point. Georgia and Arizona were leaning left, leaning blue. They were leaning blue at this point. Let's not do a fill-in. Let's just say leaning blue. They were leaning blue at this point. No question about it at all. And also right now the trends of leaning blue are continuing. So Joe Biden has a lot to be happy about, especially in Georgia and Arizona, where no Democrat had won in Arizona, and no Democrat had won in Georgia in around 30 years. And no Democrat had won in Georgia since the 40s. If anyone wants to calculate that math. If anyone wants to calculate that math, Joe Biden has a lot to be happy about in those states. Those states could push Joe Biden over the edge into 270, especially Georgia. 270 is the golden number. 270 is the amount of votes that he needs to become president-elect of the election. So if Joe Biden wins Georgia, President Trump doesn't have a viable path to 270. So the math stands at least according to right now. We can look at polls really quickly. We can look at polls and show that Georgia and Arizona at least are trending towards Biden barely. At that time of night when Joe Biden had this speech, Georgia was leaning towards Biden by only a few thousand votes. And this leads to the question, is there a mandate? Is there a real mandate for Joe Biden? We can think about the mandate because there are some things that complicates this. The mandate is a little bit weird because there was numerous House race losses for Democrats. I'm gonna put that right here. Democrats lost 4 House seats. I believe they lost 4 House seats, 4 or 6. 4 House. As you can tell, I'm getting a little sleepy. I'm getting a little sleepy because I can't keep up. It's either 4 to 6 House seats. If anyone wants to correct that, I think it's 6, but it could be 4. But anyways, is not going well for the Democrats. House actually lost the seats. Still a majority, but it's definitely a slimmer majority. No, this is not a 12-hour stream. I can't do that. But this is a excuse me. The Democrats lost 4 to 6 House seats. This will affect Pelosi's re-election as Speaker of the House. So we'll have to see if Pelosi continues her reign as House Speaker, House Majority Speaker. And then also the Republicans, the Senate is in a 48-48 tie. Senate's in a 48-48 tie. Where you have Susan Collins, you have Mitch McConnell, which Anderson Cooper famously described what determines if Pelosi stays. There's going to be a vote. There's going to be a vote for Pelosi to be Speaker of the House. We can go over that later. But she has to be voted to become House Speaker. They have elections each term. They have elections during the midterms. They have elections every 2 years. So it'll be a battle for Pelosi to see if she regains her support from her colleagues for the House, because the House is more evenly split now. This is between Democrat members of the House, I believe. I'll check on it later. So that's why we'll say. But as of I know right now, that vote is probably that vote is before January, I believe. Before or right in January. It's right within that period. Which leads into the Senate. Senate's in a 48-48 tie. Republicans defended a lot of their seats. So we're going to have a runoff election in Georgia. In Georgia, there are 2 seats. 2 seats that Democrats need to pick up in order to regain a 50-48 majority, where tiebreaker would be now first female Vice President Kamala Harris. VP Kamala Harris, that's right. Want to get that right. Kamala Harris. So she would be the tiebreaker, sort of the flip opposite of Mike Pence's Senate. Mike Pence became the tiebreaker in accordance with different Trump laws. Let's see what this says. Yes, post that in the Discord. I love that. That's literally what's happening. But yeah, but anyways, there will be interesting to see if the Democrats can hang on to Georgia. 2 seats, 50-48. We'll just have to see. If this happens, then Biden will clearly have more of a mandate. We'll have to see if Georgia turns blue once again, or if Republicans will hold on to this seat. This election will happen in January. I think it's January 10th. I'll question that because I'm not confident in that assessment, but that election is coming up fairly soon. You're going to see a lot of big money on both sides. Big money on both sides spent on the state in order to either defend or keep the seats. So we're just gonna have to see what happens there. Something that I wanted to bring up is, does Joe Biden really have a mandate? I think this Georgia runoff election will decide if Joe Biden has a real mandate to cause legislative change. Even if Joe Biden doesn't win a majority of the Senate, there's a lot Joe Biden can still do. I actually got an iPad into OBS with a sketchy app. This is a really sketchy app that I'm using, but it's working. I'll show you. I'll give you a private message. I'll give you a private message about it. But no, it's really sketchy. Really sketchy and barely works. If I had money, I would actually pay for an app that works, but I found a way. But as of right now, yeah, it's stretched because I have it stretched. If I really want it, I have it stretched because if I move it landscaped, see it real quick. Oh, it's locked. I have the rotation locked. See it locked. It looks like this. Doesn't look as stretched. Maybe that looks better, but it just makes it harder for me to write. Makes it hard. It looks better. So this looks a lot better. It's just harder for me to write. I'd rather write vertically. So there's going to be some format changes because I want to write vertically as if it's a piece of paper. Because this is not my favorite way to do it. But this is when it's horizontal. You can see it doesn't look as stretched. So I don't like writing this way, so my apologies. You're gonna have to see it stretched just so that I can write. Okay. Yeah, I do have the I have an Apple Pencil. I've been using this the whole time. I love it. The Apple Pencil is absolutely my favorite thing about the iPad. It's my absolute favorite thing. I love it. I highly recommend it. I've been using it all school year. I've been using it all school year, and it's literally been the best thing ever. Honestly, one of the best tablet pens out there. Gotta be honest. But anyways, is there a mandate? Is there a mandate for Joe Biden? That will be determined on January 10th. So Hillary lost a day after. Will this happen to Trump? Well, as of right now, the math is trending. The math is trending that Trump is bad at math. Math is against him right now. Math is fake news to President Trump. We'll have to see if his lawsuits hold. We'll have to see if a recount matters in Georgia. This is a state we'll have to watch doubly. We'll have to see Georgia. Is Georgia going to flip? Because if Georgia doesn't flip due to the recount, then President Trump will have officially lost the election. Joe Biden will go to the magic number of 270. 270 is the amount of votes needed. Ah yes, math is Andrew Yang. I am not Andrew Yang. I am Paul Politico. You are watching Paul Politico Pressroom. And this is Georgia. It's us just going to come down to Georgia or Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is already trending toward Biden. If Biden could win Pennsylvania, he'll get 270. Let's take a look at the map. Let's take a look at the electoral map because it's very important that Biden keeps that. Let's see. Take a look at electoral map that literally just closed on me. That's fine. We'll just do NBC map. NBC political map. Just see if I can make map right now. It's a little stretched, but we're gonna flip it right now. I don't need the pencil, so you'll see it flip. There you go. Go to 270. Right here. Math. Pennsylvania's leaning towards Biden right now. North Carolina's leaning towards Trump. Georgia's leaning towards Biden right now. Arizona, Nevada, and Arkansas. If we take a look once again at our vote tallies, we have Joe Biden with 306. Clearly there's a mandate with this electoral college vote, but it's just going to be very interesting with a Senate map. Senate map's going to be very difficult for Biden to get any real legislation done that is not executive orders. Yeah, Alaska, excuse me. This is how you know I'm sleepy, because I can barely keep up with my brain, but let's look at the 2016 map. The 2016 map and compare it. I love that this allows me to do that. So let's look at 2016's map. 2016, 232 to Trump's 306. There was a clear mandate for President Trump. And if we look at 2020's, it's flipped. It's completely flipped. Look at that. We can look back at 2016 if things keep on track. It's flipped. President Trump, 306. We look at the states. Trump won Arizona. Trump won Georgia. Trump won Pennsylvania. It's these states. And if we look at here, Biden has a mandate. He has at least a little bit of a mandate when it comes to these states and when it comes to the electoral college totals. So it's literally a stark contrast to 2016. It shows how close the election was. Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, yeah, they're confirmed to be blue. If they're confirmed to be blue, what is a mandate? I'm disappearing, but in my humble opinion, a mandate is when you receive enough of the vote by the people to be able to perform your duties as an elected congressperson. For example, let's say you have, let's look at the Senate. Senate, look at that, very close, 48 right now. It's going to come down to Georgia. Actually, North Carolina has a senator. Look at that. But Tillis is going to win. Tillis is going to win a Senate seat, so it's going to be 49, 48. So my previous numbers were wrong. Previous numbers were wrong for Senate, but as you can see, Georgia has a runoff election. There's 2 seats, so it'll be you can get, Democrats can get 2 of those. If Democrats can get 2 seats, they'll have 50. Republicans are going to keep 1 of those seats. Yeah, Alaska's going to have 1. Alaska's going to get a senator, 49. North Carolina's going to get a senator, 50. Democrats get Georgia, 50. 50-50, literally evenly split. This makes the argument of a mandate a little confusing, because if you have 50-50, you have an ideological split, and we'll just have to see who becomes majority or minority leader. We'll have to see if it's going to be Chuck Schumer, if it's going to be someone else. We'll just have to see how that goes. But right now, we'll have to keep an eye on Georgia's runoff election. There will be a special coverage of the Georgia runoff election. Be sure to stay tuned to Paul Politico's Pressroom and the Faux News. 2 independents and the president of the Senate. Presumably, as of right now, it's VP Kamala Harris. So anyway, Senate's very competitive. It could be ideologically split. Complicates the mandate for for Joe Biden. Let's look at the House. We look at the House right now. The House is on Dem control, but if we take a look, at the chamber. Democrats actually lost seats, which if President Trump were to be reelected, then he would definitely have gained House advantages. He would have been able to get more progress done, but because as of right now the math is turning towards Vice President Joe Biden, it doesn't look that way. It looks like at this point President Trump will be a lame duck president. We'll have to see how he handles that. But as you can see, the idea of a mandate, House, Senate's more complicated. So the question of whether Joe Biden has a mandate will be determined in January. And the mandate to pass bills, make them into law. Is he going to be able to expand the Affordable Care Act? Is he going to be able to pass anything for infrastructure, for working families? I don't know. We'll just have to see. And that's the main stuff that I wanted to go over with Joe Biden's speech. Excuse about that. As you can see, it's going to come down to Georgia, like I just said. And the count is still going, so we're going to take one last look at the news. We're going to take one last look at the news and have some wrap-up closing thoughts before we head out, because there's stuff that still needs to be counted, and we'll just have to see. So we're going to turn on the news real quick, and then we're going to see where that leaves us. We're going to look at Fox News. We're going to look at Fox News, and then we're going to look back at CNN real quick. So. Right now they're going on a commercial. I don't want to go over a commercial. Yeah, don't want commercials. Sorry, Fox News, but because you're in a commercial, because you're in a commercial, I don't want to watch it right now. CNN concludes that Biden's victory, while Fox News determines that votes are still being weighted. Although Fox News was the first state to count Arizona. I mean, the first news outlet to count Arizona. So I'm gonna watch CNN for just a second and have closing thoughts. Here we go.
That's the point. Yeah, Chris, is that not the point?
That's the point.
So right now you can see CNN. Trump's not happy with legal team right now. Trump's legal team is a little bit lackluster, according to President Trump. Got Don Lemon right now. As you can see, the vote is still being counted. Only 93% of the vote for Nevada, and there's only a few votes. There's only a few votes left, and we'll have. And according to the Pennsylvania lawsuit, there are segregated ballots in accordance with the lawsuit filed. A lot of people forgot about the pandemic due to being ED week. Yesterday was a lot of COVID infections, as pointed out by Vice President Joe Biden. We'll have to see if he becomes president. We'll have to see what sort of plan he has out in mind. He has aired ads about an election mandate. Yeah, he has aired a lot of a lot of ads in battleground states about the need to wear masks and such. So the pandemic is definitely something to be worry about as it goes on, and we also don't know how the election will affect COVID cases. We'll just have to see how things keep going. 1,160 Americans croaked from the disease yesterday. Yes, very bad. COVID's very bad. Be sure to wear a mask. We'll just have to see how Election Day affects hospitalizations. As of today, there's like over a lot of hospitalizations in bunches of states. So we'll just have to see how that goes. We'll have to see how the recount goes. As you can see, popular vote, Biden has 74 million, Trump has 70 million. The highest popular vote totals in terms of presidencies in at least my lifetime. I don't know about history. I think in United States history, this is the highest share of the votes, highest vote turnout. We'll have to see how many people actually turned out in terms of registrations and ballots that are accepted. I don't think we'll see a spike due to Election Day, but we'll see a huge spike from... Yeah, I agree. September and October are going to be terrible months. Wear a mask. Stay safe. Stay safe out there. Now I just have a couple of closing thoughts before we break for tonight. Yeah, oops. Okay. We're back just for a brief minute. Yeah, this is the most voted on election ever. Very important. It shows that our electoral process is respected as an institution, and we'll just have to see how things wrap up, because I definitely think things are going to wrap up a little bit. But Joe Biden is nearing 270 votes. He reflected confidence today. President Trump has been tweeting about the integrity of the vote, and we'll have to see how these lawsuits continue. But as of right now, Joe Biden is on the cusp of electoral victory in Pennsylvania, and in Georgia. It's too close to call. They're going to have a recount. I'll update you guys on what the recount is. And right now, things continue forward. The election is still going. Counts are still coming in. We'll just have to see how things shake up. And November is going to be bad for COVID. December is going to be worse. Cold weather is going to be bad for COVID. So if you're out in public, real close to people, wear a mask. Stay safe. Stay safe out there, everybody. No matter who you are, do your best. Try not to get sick. Yes, Civil War, that will start in January. Buy guns. No, just stay safe. Just stay safe. If you feel like you need to buy a gun for protection, you can buy a gun. Do that. If you feel you need to buy a gun in order to stay safe out there, then do that. What would you say to mask ripping Leonard? I would say, do what you can to be safe. Do what you can to be safe, Leonard. Try not to cause a disruption. Buy many guns. Put them in a safe. Put them in a safe so your kid doesn't find one in a closet. Yeah. But anyways, this is Paul Politico. This was your Election Day Roundup. There's going to be more press news. I'm going to play games. I'm gonna play games at some point. Oh, my camera just shut down. I'm gonna make sure I get back there. I'm pretty sure my camera's just overheats, but I don't know why. We're gonna fix that. Gonna fix that next time. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know why my camera shuts down. I'm pretty sure it overheats. It's really hot right now. I feel it. I feel it feels warm. But anyways, this was a Election Day roundup. There'll be more. There's going to be at least one more of these. Election Day. Very fun. Hope you all enjoyed it. Political Machine 2020. That'd be fun to do eventually. But as of right now, this is Paul Politico. And this has been the Paul Politico Press Room. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Thank you guys so much. I will put an archive of this VOD on my archive channel so you all can watch it. Anyways, as always, I will catch you next time. We're on a commercial break, so it's literally the perfect time to sign off. This is Paul Politico signing off from his press room. Have a great one. Yeah, bye, everybody.